Mark Journal.
Mr. Speaker, point of
Chairman Panelo,
privilege.
you have the floor.
Speaker, thank you. Good morning to you and good morning to all members and those who are observing from the gallery. I wish to, on our behalf, introduce a good friend of mine and a hardworking individual who is observing our session this morning. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Mitaro Simina, who's here observing our session, is the Vice Principal of Pix High School. I've had the opportunity of working with him in many important events with Pix and other related services that he has been doing. So with all of that, can we kindly recognize him for his service and dedication to helping with the education of our students over the many years he's been working with Pix High School. Thank you. Let's give him a round of recognition.
Thank you, Chairman Panuelo. Congress joins you in welcoming Mr. Simina to our session this morning. Any other point of privilege? If not, next item, Chief Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, item 5, presidential communications on receipt of numbers 20-60 and 20-61.
Assign those, Chief Clerk. Next item.
Item 6, FSM Supreme Court communications. There are none, Mr. Speaker.
Continue.
Item 7, member communications, none. Item 8, departmental communications, there are none. Item 9, agency or governmental authority communications, there are none, Mr. Speaker. Item 10, state communications, none also. Item 11, state Supreme Court communications, there are none. Item 12, municipal or town communications, none. Item 13, foreign government communications, none, Mr. Speaker.
Order of the day, standing committee reports, Chief Clerk.
For standing committee reports, Mr. Speaker, there are none.
Special committee reports.
None, Mr. Speaker.
Next item.
Item 16, assignment of measures and communications. Excuse me. We have a referral sheet number 20-20.
Okay, Chairman and members, take note of the referral sheet and plan accordingly. Next item.
Item 17, unfinished business, there are none. Item 18, bill calendar, Mr. Speaker. The first bill on the bill calendar is CB number 20-65 for second reading.
Chairman Figueroa.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move for the passage of Congress Bill number 20-65.
Chief Clerk, read the title.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, CP number 20-65 is a bill for an act to further amend Public Law 15-32 as amended by Public Laws numbers 15-36, 15-44, 15-57, 15-63, 15-72, 15-78, 16-3, 16-11, 16-33, 16-46, 17-12, 17-21, 17-33, 17-40, 18-17, 18-67, 18-85, 18-104, 19-17, 19-100, and 19-157 by amending Section 6 thereof for the purpose of changing the use of certain funds previously appropriated therein to fund public projects and social programs for the people of Chuk State and for other purposes.
There's been a motion for passage on second and final reading, which was seconded. Discussion. Senator Conman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I have a written amendment I wish to offer on this set bill. Thank you.
Okay, just
So
make a
moved.
motion for adoption. Just move for adoption.
I shall move, Mr. Speaker, for the adoption of the floor
Second?
written amendment.
Second.
It's moved and seconded that the offer for amendment to CB 20-65 by Senator Conman be adopted because of its length. We will dispense with its reading. And let the record reflects that the relevant rules, especially the one prohibiting substantive amendment on second and final reading, are suspended at this point. Discussion on the offered floor amendment by Senator Coleman. Any discussion? If none, there is no objection. Discussion is closed, so let's vote. Those in favor of adoption of the offered floor amendments to CB 20-65 by Senator Coleman, say yes. Opposed, nay. Motion carried. The amendments are adopted. We have CT1. Short recess. Congress back in session. Acting floor, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. On your behalf, I propose some floor amendments to the same bill as amended, and it's been printed, duplicated, and distributed. I ask that reading of the amendments be suspended and move for the adoption.
It's moved and seconded that the offer for amendments to CB 20-65 by Senator Semina be adopted. Because of its length, we will dispense with its reading. The relevant rules are still suspended up to this point. Discussion? Questions being called for. If there's no objection, debate is closed. So let's vote. Those in favor of the adoption of the offer for amendment to CB 20-65 CT1, say yes. Opposed, nay. Motion carried. The offer for amendments are adopted. We now have CT2. Any further discussion on the CT2? Questions being called for. If there's no objection, debate is closed. So let's vote by roll call of delegations. Chief Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, State of Chuk, Chairman Aritos. State of Pohnpei, Chairman Penuelo.
Yea, mine.
State of Kushai. State of Yap, Chairman Urismal. Mr. Speaker, 3 states voted for. State of Kushai absent or excused.
For that reason, CP number 20-65 CT2 has passed Congress on second and final reading. Next bill.
Speaker, point of privilege, please.
State your point, Chairman Panelo.
Speaker, it's Saturday and I'm in the mood of introduction, so
Keep going.
I didn't see some individuals who were back there hidden by the wall, but our good staff has given me their names, and so on behalf of Chairman Aritos, who didn't see, let me introduce them. We have Mr. Agustin Antonio, I believe, from Chuk, who's a constituent of one or the rest of the members of Chuk delegation. We have Marina, I hope I'm spelling it right, Topich Mori from Chuk, and Ket Sirius. Yes, so the individuals who are here, I'm sure they're here for a good reason. I, on behalf of the Chuk delegation, welcome you all to the session, and let's give them a round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Panuelo. Unfortunately, you cannot get votes from there. That's for me and for Senator Coleman.
I'm sure they have a lot of families in Pohnpei, Speaker.
Thank you very much for the introduction. And they are welcome indeed in observing our session this morning. Any other point of privilege? If none, let's continue. Next bill. Chief Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, we have CP number 20-66 for second reading. CP number 20-66 is a bill for an act to further amend Section 1 of Public Law number 16-18 as amended by Public Laws numbers 16-24, 16-32, 16-39, 16-45, 16-54, 16-67, 17-4, 17-14, 17-26, 17-39, 17-65, 18-27, 18-47, 18-80, 19-13, and 19-108. to change the use of certain funds previously appropriated therein to fund public projects and social programs in the state of Chuuk and for other purposes.
Chairman Forget.
Move for the passage on second, on Congress Bill number 20-66 on second and final reading.
It's moved and seconded that Congress pass on second and final reading CB number 20-66. Senator Conman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Again, I wish to offer a written amendment to said bill. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Any second? It's moved and seconded that the offer for amendment to CB 20-66 by Senator Conman be adopted. The relevant rules are still suspended, and because of its length, we will dispense with its reading. A discussion on the offered floor amendments. If there is none, there's no objection. Discussion is closed. So let's vote. Those in favor of adoption of the offer for amendments to CB 20-66 by Senator Conman say yes. Opposed, nay. Motion carried. The offer for amendments to CB 20-66 are adopted. We now have CD1. Discussion further. Questions been called for? There is no objection. Debate will be closed. So let's vote. Those in favor, short recess. You good?
Speaker, sorry, we were just looking at the
Session. We're still in discussion of CB 20-66 CD1. Any further discussion? If none, if there is no objection, the debate is closed. So let's vote by roll call of delegation.
State of Chuuk, Chairman Aritos. State of Pohnpei, Chairman Panuelo.
yay, my.
State of Koshai. State of Yap, Chairman Orsmal. Mr. Speaker, 3 states voted for, State of Koshai not present.
For that reason, CB number 20-66 CD1 has passed Congress on second and final reading. Next bill.
Mr. Speaker, we have CP number 20-67 for second reading. CP number 20-67 is a bill for an act to further amend Public Law 15-80 as amended by Public Laws numbers 16-4, 17-53, 18-37, 18-66, 19-14, 19-105, and 19-161 by amending Section 1 thereof for the purpose of changing the use of certain funds previously appropriated therein for public projects and social programs in the state of Chuuk and for other purposes.
Chairman Figueroa. It's moved and seconded that Congress pass on second and final reading CP number 20-67. Any discussion? Any discussion? If none, there is no objection. Discussion is closed. So let's vote by roll call of delegations. Chief Clerk.
State of Chuuk, Chairman Hortos. State of Pohnpei, Chairman Panuelo.
Aye.
State of Kushai, Chairman Wali. State of Yap, Chairman Orismal. Mr. Speaker, 3 states 4-4. State of Kushai not present.
CB number 20-67 has passed Congress on second and final reading. Next bill.
There are none, Mr. Speaker.
Next item.
Item 19, resolution calendar. There are none, Mr. Speaker.
Short recess. Any resolution? If none, make sure you don't forget some of yours, okay? We can do them in September. Congress back in session. We're still on the resolution calendar. Any resolution? If none, next item.
Item 20, introduction of bills and resolutions.
If you have any measure to introduce, pass them on to Chief Clerk. Next item.
Item 21, miscellaneous communications. There are none, Mr. Speaker.
Next item.
Item 22, miscellaneous business.
Chairman Ursula.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. As your chairman of the Committee on Education, I just wish to indicate on record here in miscellaneous business that the grant applications for an amount of $8.3 million to be given to the FSM by the Asian Development Bank, known as ADB, with in-kind contribution of $1 million from the government of the FSM, governments of the FSM. The decision of the committee is to defer action on the resolution and in reporting out the grant, mainly because of time constraint. The communication came to Congress during the last few days of its current special session. And with the amount of the grant as is, the committee felt that it would require more time to review it. And also because of the absence of appropriate staff from the Department of Education, national government, to testify on the grant. What we were facing was just a consultant, someone from the Department of Justice, and I believe the AO for the Department of Education. So based on those, especially those three reasons, the committee decided that we should wait until in September, when there is more time to and more appropriate staff to testify on the need of these grants. I'm sure you would recall, Mr. Speaker, when we went through the public sector reform, the government also entered into, I think, a loan scheme from the same organization, which was called VSS, or something to do with education. And that was taken place when we asked during the small committee hearing. We could not get any adequate responses or answers as to what had happened with that loan and that program that the government undertook in the mid-90s. So with the foregoing reasons, we recommended that we look at the grant in September. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Chairman Ursula. Those are some really valid points. As Chairman, you are, it's at your discretion how you want to move that forward. It's a lot of money. But I'm also concerned about the institutional and constitutional implication of this money coming directly to the national government to implement. And as we know, our Constitution gives that authority to the states to implement educational programs. So I will ask that you also follow up with a letter to the Department of Education informing them of that decision so they know.
Speaker.
Because of the time frame of implementation, I understand it's supposed to be next month. Okay? Any, Chairman Panuelo?
Speaker, I just want to thank the two chairmen for making that decision to defer the resolution to next session of Congress. I believe that's a very substantive matter dealing with the $9 million plus grant from ADB, and so the members who would need to know the full details of how this would be implemented. And I want to thank you, especially the Chairman of V and Chairman of HSA for deferring the resolution to September. And Speaker, if I may continue on the miscellaneous business, not really that there's any issue, but at some point I think our Congress, full sitting of Congress, needs to take stock of the kind of activities that we go through and the work that we do. And Mr. Speaker, I just want to give some observations here to merely put on record. And firstly, I want to thank the Vice Speaker, our good Vice Speaker, for taking the helm when you were away. And Speaker, we assure you that when you're away next time, you need not worry, because the way we observed our Vice Speaker, and just coming from me, from my heart, and how I see our Vice Speaker conducted himself, it was as though he's been a speaker for many years. So I assure you, when you're away, and we're glad that Mrs. is okay with the reason that you're away for, but I thank the Vice Speaker for the very able leadership he has provided in your absence. Also, Mr. Speaker, saying that sometimes we need to take stock of what we do and appreciate the positive implications of what we do. I also want to merely put on record that I thank the Vice Speaker for leading our delegation and the members who went to Honolulu for that very important meeting, results of which have been signed by the two governments, United States and the FSM. And I believe that all of us do understand what actions needs to be done from here till the end of the fiscal year. I think that the cloud has been cleared up, and major infrastructures have been will be implemented, and suspension has been lifted. And Speaker, if you bear with me, and members, going on, I thank the other respective chairmen for the work they do. And I want to begin with the Ways and Means Chairman. We know that he has incredible wealth of patience, because the rest of us members behave like we are chairmen of Ways and Means when we move matters dealing with money. So I thank our good chairman figure, who's always been patient with us, and the very able leadership that he has continues to lead us, our nation, by working hard with members. Sometimes it's not easy to reach a consensus, but to set aside 7 million of carryover funds to go into our trust fund is an admirable one. And so I always consider myself lucky to be working with Chairman Figure and rest of the members who are active in thinking about our future when we use our current resources, that we set aside some for the benefit of future generations. That being said, we also thank him for and the rest of you who have been working on setting the threshold, Mr. Speaker. Sometimes we need to take that kind of discipline to apply it on ourselves, the threshold on the appropriation of our rep funds. I thank the leadership that you have provided, Speaker, and the rest of the members. And also that we do an audit on the PMU, because decision has been made so that when they exit, we have some form of clear understanding on the performance in terms of how our resources are being used. So I thank the Chairman of Ways and Means for that. And I thank again, reiterate thanking Chairman of V and Chairman of HSA for deferring that resolution and the work they're doing in the respective areas that they've been doing. And Speaker, the Chairman of TNI, I know it's tough. We've done some work that can help, and I know it's highly technical when we talk about FSMDC and World Bank. I myself, trying to understand the issues have been difficult, but some of us have the strength in helping us understand more, and I thank those members who are very strong in helping to make us understand those difficult issues. And I especially thank my 2 and 3 members of our delegation that sometimes when I don't get the full picture of these technical issues, when we meet, I get a clear understanding from it. So I thank my members of the Bombay delegation for that. And Chairman, Speaker, I know you're Chairman of R&D here. I thank members of the R&D committee for the major effort in passing the corporate bill. I know we've carried on and it took too long, and I thank you for your patience, all of you. I believe that we can appreciate that MRA started with very little, and sometimes we say, when are we going to get the big one? But even without the big one, I think revenue that we're getting from the MRA in terms of the taxes that major corporations from Japan are paying into our treasury is one that we can appreciate. I believe we're around 7 million up to that point. And that kind of money is very important to the work that we do in appropriating money to serve our nation. And so I believe the trend will continue to be positive over the years coming, and that corporate bill will help very much. Your R&D committee chairman, Speaker, one major one that was carried over from, or will be, is the seabed mining bill, a very important one to set the framework on how we manage our minerals in our exclusive economic zone and beyond. And I plan to report that in the, your committee report that in the September session. So Speaker, I may have missed out some of the important things that we've touched on, but I think taking stock of our effort that we do in total, I would say that this very short session has been a very productive one, Speaker, and I thank you, Vice Speaker, and the respective chairmen and all the members for the very serious work that we put into the session. Even though it's short, my observation on it is that it's been productive, and I look forward to working with all of you in September to continue the trend of caring for our nation and the things that we do, even with the public projects that we just passed on second reading. I know very well that it's going to help a lot of our constituents that are waiting for the help that we, representatives of people, will do for them. So Speaker, I thank you for giving me time to say a few words on the miscellaneous business. Kalanga.
Thank you very much, Chairman Panuelo. Those are some good observations and good words for, I think we just need to keep plugging away, just do our job. And I think that's the best way of judging the works of Congress, is just to keep doing what we must do. Any other miscellaneous business from members? Chairman Berman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning to you, Vice, acting floor members, and all of those that is observing our session this morning. Speaker, I just want to put it on record that the resolutions that been from the Department of Health been put on hold or be tackled during the regular session in September. One of the main reasons is because of the time constraint that we have, and we all know our legal staff just got back from her trip, and also it's by looking at all the most of the resolutions that came to our office, especially the one about the recent one, not today's session, but the first day of session. It, as a chairman of health, started to make me think about us pulling down grants from the, from the compact, the resolution regarding the opioid. This is about the trucks relating to like morphine or really high. And if you really read the resolutions, the purpose of this grant is to increase access to treatment, reduce treatment, some unmet treatment needs, and reduce opioid overdose related. It's about $250,000. And when we actually look into it and try to look at the stats and how much overdose and everything, and we found out that ever since way back to today, we have only about 8 incidents. And when we look clearly to it, it's basically creating more jobs at that department, to create new jobs at the states. But it's saying it's to treat, because I thought we have an issue of this problem here in the FSM. So it made me wonder, what are we really doing? Are we looking at all these grants just pulling down so we can create jobs? And it's all make me think. It's a concern that I really have, because we all know that the compact is coming to an end.
And when we go back, and this is going to be what we're basically looking at, health and education. And when we go back and as a chairman of health, or we talk about our health, the question, if they ever raise the question, what do you think about your NCDs? After all the funding that we put into your country, is diabetes any getting better? Hypertension, all of these NCDs. All the money we're pumping. And what really make me concerned again is that getting a grant from ADB for $8 million regarding education. Is the grant given to us under the compact is not enough, or are we using full so we need more? So these are concerns that I'm really thinking of, issues that really bothering me as a leader. I mean, hopefully that if the people of FSM, especially my district, thinks that I should be here till the end of the compact, I mean, this is something that I really want to make sure that I have an answer to when I get to the end of the compact. When they ask me, when we put so much money into your health, can you tell me that today your health system is a better system than way back? So what happened on our first session, I asked Department of Health to give me stats of the NCDs. And the reason why I shared with all members, because after going through that report from them, I have more questions than answers. So with all the money that pumping into our health, and this is the kind of report they give it to us, I have, like I said, I have more questions than answers. So I hope that as a new chairman of health, that with other members, we're going to try our very best, the very best, that money that we bring down to help our country. It's not just because we want to bring down money because it's out there. But we'll bring it down so it makes sure that it really goes out and do what it's supposed to do. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is something that I wanted to share.
Thank you very much, Chairman Berman, for your candid observation of how the grants that we've been receiving, how they've been used or implemented. That's a standing question that will come up in our discussion with the United States comes 2023. What have you done with all this money that we've given you? I mean, it's a standing question. It's not something that they will, try to hesitate from asking us. Chairman Panuelo, you have something?
Yeah, Speaker, thank you for giving me back the floor. When I was speaking a while ago, I don't want to pass the opportunity without saying how appreciative I am of our staff, and I don't say it much, even though I feel that a lot, how appreciative I am and thankful I am with the good work that our staff do for us. And I start with the chief clerk and the assistant chief clerk. Every time that I ask them something to do for me, they really do it with the diligence that I don't expect, because we have many things that we do. But I want to start with them by saying how thankful I am for the work that they do, and that includes our LC, who leads our legal staff, does work that we do, and all the rest of the staff, including the pages. I don't say it enough, but this session I wanna say how thankful we are, because the work that we do would not have been possible without the kind of support that they do to prepare us for it, Speaker. And I know you say it, but I thank you for giving me the opportunity to thank all the staff that are with us. And that includes all the staff that helps us through maintenance, and our very own Sergeant at Arms, who's been here dedicated to keeping things in order. So I include all the staff, the media staff that we have. So, Speaker, if you allow me to say on our behalf, thank you to all of them from the bottom of our hearts for the hard work they do to make sure that the work we do is successful. Thank you, Speaker, and thank you to all of the staff.
Well, thank you very much, Chairman Panuelo. Any other miscellaneous business, Chairman Arsenal?
Just a couple, Mr. Speaker. First, I just wish to note for records that the for our journal for this special session. The very able speaker and the very able vice speaker will review and make technical corrections, including additions to what I say on the floor, sometimes to make it more beautiful and correct my broken English. So that I move for, let me make that first, move for the adoption of that motion.
Second.
It's moved and seconded that the speaker, vice speaker, and acting floor leader will be responsible for making all the technical and otherwise other corrections to our journals and other papers of records of this Congress. Those in favor say yes.
Yeah.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. So be it. Any other miscellaneous business?
Secondly, Mr. Speaker, if I may,
All
just
right.
on my
Continue.
small second miscellaneous, included in the thanking, I know, by Chairman Panuelo, I wish especially to point out and to thank an individual who is no stranger to Congress and Congress works, Mr. Ron Moroni, who is helping our legal staff for this session. And to indicate here that unfortunately, or depending on how you look at it, maybe fortunately, Mr. Moroni had indicated interest to work in YAP as the Attorney General for the state. He had, in writing, communicated to the acting Attorney General, and up to now, he has not received any response from the acting Attorney General whether he would be given the nomination to head the Office of Attorney General in YAP. I know YAP has been without really confirmed AG for the past almost 3 years, and the term of the administration is winding down, and I hope YAP would wake up and find it in their favor, interest to to nominate Ron Moroni for their AG. Thank you, Mr. P. And I thank him for helping and for his interest to help YAP State, especially this time before the end of the amended compact. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and
Thank
I thank
you.
Ron.
Thank you, Chairman Roosevelt. Any other miscellaneous? If no further from members, I just have a few items that I would like to share with you on our budget. I would like to really thank all the chairmen and members of the respective committees standing committees for doing a great job in moving forward your hearings, public hearings and budget hearings on our FY18 budget. I just want to say this, that I would rather see us finish the budget the first week of our next session, if that is doable. And I will defer to our Chairman on Ways and Means on his expertise, but given the information I've been given from Chairman and members of the committees, to me that is doable. And I think if we can just continue finish up all the little matters that remain, I believe we can push the budget the first few days of the next session. But that's just my wish for that budget. And of course, as you know, the audit for FSM national government came out really good. It's probably the best, in the words of the auditor himself, it's the best since early 1990s. So I think that is something really good. We're moving in the right direction. But at the same time, I thank members for adopting that resolution urging the President to move forward on these uniform guidelines from the U.S. Government, which will really impact our relationship with our states with respect to grants and even compact sector grants. So I wish we can continue to work with the executive branch to make sure that they move forward with that. And I was given something, I think, from Chairman Figuer on the FSM national government being designated as a compliant country with respect to the OECD, the forum, global forum on tax sharing. And I guess that has a lot to do with the statute that we passed. So with that, I also congratulate Congress for stepping forward in making sure that that happens. I also would like to join those who've spoken earlier about our appreciation to staff for all their hard works. I mean, they've been working extra hard for us. I just hope some of you members will see it fit sometimes in the near future to also allow them something else like overtime when we're in session. So those kind of small incentives will go a long way in supporting our hard-working staff. And I join Chairman Ursula in thanking Mr. Moroni for joining us this session. We look forward to continue working with you when your time permits. And I hope you got that nomination by the Yep state government. Maybe Chairman Ursula should call them and wake them up. Let them know that there is that pending matter. Okay? We still have a lot of challenges ahead of us. By no means, as we've done, we really still have a lot of things on our plate. And we really need your cooperation, making sure that we continue to work for the best interests of our nation. Anything else? Chairman Panuelo?
Speaker, on your behalf and those members who are members of the JCRB committee, I want to share with the other members that based on the decision we made, that that committee will also be meeting in the margins, or have we set the date? I think we set the date already for September, prior to the September session, and that's another matter that I say that I'm really appreciative that we're moving on it in terms of organization of that JCRB committee, and look forward to the review of the budget that would be presented to our committee. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Chairman Panuelo. Any other miscellaneous business? If none, announcements. Chairman Figuer? Vice Chairman Ned? Chairman Berman?
No announcement. Thank you,
Vice Chairman Aridos? Chairman Panuelo?
No announcement, Speaker, and thank you.
Vice Chairman Coleman?
No announcement, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Chairman Ursula? Vice Speaker?
Thank you, Speaker. No announcement.
Okay, if there is no further business of this Congress, may we all stand? Based on our call, I hereby declare the first special session of the 20th Congress adjourned sine die.